Ono Eiji reads a message from Miyuki, apologizing that club activities have come up and she can't make their special birthday date. Though he responds kindly, wishing her luck, he can't help but feel a pang of disappointment. Though they've been together for half a year, their relationship still feels fragile. He's been too hesitant, and they haven't even shared a kiss yet. She's always been like an idol to him, someone he admired from afar, and without their childhood bond, he doubts he could have ever spoken to her properly, let alone dated her. Now, after going all out for their first date, he's left stunned as she unexpectedly cancels, leaving him to grapple with the reality of their fragile connection. Standing outside the movie theater they were supposed to visit together, he's struck by the emptiness of the moment and the weight of what could have been. Memories of their unshared closeness flash through his mind, deepening his sense of longing and regret. His eyes widen in shock as he realizes where he has wandered. This is the Love Hotel district, a place far removed from the innocent date he had imagined, surrounded by couples openly showing their affection. He feels a flush of embarrassment and confusion, caught off guard by the stark contrast to his own fragile relationship. Tension fills the room as she nervously reaches out, her cheeks flushed with a mix of embarrassment and vulnerability. Both sit apart on the couch, the silence between them heavy and unresolved. Her hesitant gesture breaks through the awkwardness, hinting at a fragile connection struggling to find its footing. His breath catches as he spots her, Miyuki, walking confidently beside another man, her bright smile a stark contrast to his stunned silence. The unexpected sight leaves him frozen, struggling to process the sudden, painful reality before him. Confronted by the unexpected presence of Miyuki and the man beside her, the protagonist's shock deepens as he stammers out a question, struggling to understand why they're here. The tension escalates when Miyuki suddenly lashes out in pain, leaving him stunned and desperate to reach out to her. Without hesitation, the protagonist delivers a powerful strike, sending the other man reeling backward. The tension explodes into violence as he fiercely defends what he believes is rightfully his. The antagonist taunts the protagonist, mocking his relationship with Miyuki and daring her to speak up. Miyuki looks distressed and silent. While the protagonist's shock deepens, caught between hope and disbelief, the tension tightens as the antagonist cruelly belittles their bond, pushing the protagonist to confront a painful truth. The antagonist coldly demands Miyuki choose between him and the protagonist, threatening to end their relationship if she truly cares for the other. Miyuki, torn and desperate, pleads for him not to abandon her, confessing she couldn't bear to live without him. The protagonist's shock deepens as the cruel ultimatum forces a heart-wrenching decision. The antagonist's sinister smile widens as he pats Miyuki's head, coldly asserting that her understanding alone is enough. Miyuki hides her face, overwhelmed and trembling, while the protagonist watches in stunned silence, desperate for her to speak. The tension thickens as the antagonist demands she say his name aloud, mocking their bond and deepening the protagonist's anguish. Miyuki reveals the painful truth about her childhood friend, now turned into a clingy, abusive boyfriend. Her forced smile barely hides the torment as she confesses this harsh reality. The protagonist's shock deepens, struggling to grasp the weight of her words. Under the antagonist's cruel command, Miyuki coldly rejects the protagonist, apologizing as she declares she can no longer be with him. The protagonist is left devastated as she is forced to sever all ties, even forbidding him from speaking to her at school. From that moment, his once happy life begins to unravel. The protagonist arrives at Kitchen Ono, greeted warmly by the staff who notice he's home early, despite their cheerful welcome and concern about his skipped lunch. He responds quietly, masking the turmoil within. The contrast between their friendly atmosphere and his somber mood is palpable. Overwhelmed by shock, the protagonist stays in bed, unable to move as time drags on. He repeatedly refuses to eat, trapped in a cycle of despair and haunting nightmares that refuse to fade. The protagonist is tormented by a vivid nightmare where a woman clings to another man, mocking him as disgusting and clingy. As the scene shifts, the woman seductively urges the protagonist to forget the creepy guy and focus solely on her, leaving him trapped and helpless behind a glass barrier. The protagonist jolts awake in a panic, tears streaming down his face as he desperately pleads for the nightmare to stop. His fear has grown so intense that even the thought of falling asleep terrifies him. The protagonist is caught off guard as a cheerful voice calls out his name, breaking through his troubled thoughts. He watches quietly from a distance as two girls walk ahead, their lively conversation a stark contrast to his own inner turmoil. The girl teases him with a mischievous laugh, clearly enjoying his flustered reaction. The boy stammers, asking her to stop, but she just laughs harder, delighting in how seriously he took her joke. The girl's expression hardens as she firmly warns the protagonist to stay away from Miyuki, calling him an abusive creep. She makes it clear that if he continues stalking her, she won't let him escape the consequences. The protagonist quietly agrees, his expression heavy with resignation. From a distance, the two girls continue walking, one urging Miyuki to properly ignore stalkers like him. The tension lingers as the warning hangs in the air. Suddenly, he receives a chilling email from an unknown sender, filled with hateful and threatening words. His eyes widen in shock as he reads the cruel message, realizing the danger lurking in the shadows. The protagonist's phone buzzes relentlessly with hateful messages, each one lashing out with cruel accusations and threats. Shocked and confused, he stammers in disbelief, insisting he hasn't done anything wrong. Overwhelmed, he throws his blanket aside, struggling to process the sudden barrage of hostility. The next day, the protagonist steels himself, forcing a calm facade as he enters the classroom. Despite the chatter and normalcy around him, his nervousness is palpable, his hand trembling as he pushes the door open. He silently tells himself to act like it's just another ordinary day. Surrounded by dark, oppressive shadows, the hateful whispers of his classmates echo relentlessly in his mind, branding him with cruel insults and venomous accusations. The weight of their scorn presses down, isolating him in a sea of judgment and hostility. Despite the chaos around him, he sits frozen, eyes wide with shock and pain, trapped by the relentless barrage of hatred. The protagonist's protests fall on deaf ears as classmates angrily accuse him, convinced by Miyuki's word and Kondo Senpai's testimony. Surrounded by two admired school celebrities, he's branded a criminal, drowning in disbelief and isolation. A girl asserts that anyone would believe the popular students over him, leaving him defeated and unwilling to listen any longer. Alone on a bench, he silently questions how everything spiraled into this painful reality. Nearby, laughter and chatter fill the classroom. A stark contrast to his isolation. With a heavy heart, he mechanically brings a piece of food to his lips, feeling utterly detached from the world around him. A notification interrupts his thoughts. The club meeting has been suddenly cancelled. Feeling abandoned and isolated, he watches classmates pass by, realizing there's no one left in class he can truly rely on. Despite the official cancellation, he clings to a faint hope that someone might still be there to listen. Behind closed doors, the popular students callously discuss the protagonist, mocking his efforts and confirming they discarded his draft. Meanwhile, tears stream down his face as he faces the harsh reality of their cruelty, feeling utterly pathetic and crushed by their rejection. His discarded draft is trampled underfoot, torn and scattered like his shattered hopes. The weight of loneliness presses down as he admits, with tears in his eyes, that he truly has no one left to stand by his side. A sudden thought sparks hope as he wonders if Vice homeroom teacher Iase might still be in the classroom. Peeking inside, he overhears a concerned conversation between Iase and two students about Miyuki's recent troubles, hinting at a chance for understanding and support. Just as despair threatens to consume him, a powerful voice declares unwavering support, reminding him that no other student matches his brilliance. The protagonist's heart pounds as hope flickers amidst the shadows of doubt. Yet, the cruel reality of threatening notes left in his locker reminds him that the battle is far from over. Returning home, the protagonist is greeted warmly and asked about his day, revealing his club activities were unexpectedly cancelled. Concerned for his well-being, the familiar voice urges him to rest properly, and he responds with a quiet, grateful smile. Despite the small comfort, the weight of recent troubles still lingers beneath the surface. Despite knowing his family is also burdened and tired, the protagonist resolves to focus on his own path, encouraged by their strength and smiles. He reflects on how his older brother has taken on the responsibility of protecting the family and the shop since their father passed. While their mother hides her pain behind a brave smile, with a determined smile, he vows to endure, believing that if he does his best, no one in his family will have to be unhappy. The protagonist lies awake, clutching the blanket tightly as sleepless nights stretch on. Haunted by the memory of that day, she wonders why everything fell apart and wishes it could have been just a dream. Regret gnaws at her, imagining how different things might have been if she had only held on and spoken her heart. The protagonist reflects on how seeing Eiji being bullied almost brought her to tears, but she forces herself not to cry, believing she doesn't have the right to. What began as a simple, innocent love talk soon became complicated when her friends, misunderstanding the situation, introduced her to Kondo Senpai, a confident and kind ace of the soccer team. Despite trying to resist, she finds herself drawn to his charm and experience. Unlike her and Eiji, who were each other's first loves, Kondo Senpai has a more mature perspective on relationships, making him incredibly attractive to her. Playfully confident, he jokes about how any guy would be drawn to a girl like Miyuki, teasing that he would have made a move right away. Though he quickly laughs it off, despite his charm, he senses Eiji might just be intimidated by him. Under the city's glowing skyline, Kondo-senpai pulls her into a tender kiss, claiming the affection she once reserved for Eiji. The moment is bittersweet, as she quietly admits that everything she was meant to give to Eiji has now been taken by Kondo. Kondo reassures Miyuki with a confident smile, insisting that any man who fails to pursue someone as attractive as her is at fault. Not her. She listens quietly, conflicted, as he tells her she's not the one in the wrong. It's the other man who failed as a man, despite the guilt. A part of her feels a strange comfort in his words, acknowledging she's crossed a point of no return. The tension rises as he bluntly tells her he'll ask another girl to hang out, clearly fed up with always coming second to Eiji in her heart. She's shocked and desperate, trying to explain that the day is Eiji's birthday, but he's already made up his mind to end the chase, hoping they'll both be happier apart. She breaks down, overwhelmed by the fear of losing everything she holds dear. The weight of her choices crashes down on her as she sits alone, trembling with the realization of what's at stake. The school day begins with a tense atmosphere as the protagonist notices cruel notes left behind, fueling the harsh judgment from his peers. Despite the whispers and gossip labeling him as violent and unwelcome, he walks through the crowd with a heavy heart, burdened by isolation and misunderstanding. The protagonist stands frozen, staring at a bulletin board plastered with cruel messages and photos labeling him as an abusive guy and a creep. The hateful words and images deepen the isolation he feels, making the weight of the rumors impossible to ignore. Overwhelmed by guilt and despair, the protagonist questions why his family and his dad's shop are suffering because of him. His anguish bursts out as he slams his fist against the wall, demanding to know why this is happening. Suddenly, a cruel voice taunts him, calling him criminal boy, deepening his torment. A cruel tormentor sneers with twisted delight, mocking the protagonist's pain as if it's entertainment. He taunts him for losing everything, admitting he enjoys destroying others' lives. The protagonist, overwhelmed and broken, is told to give up, sinking to his knees in despair. The doctor offers to inform the protagonist's homeroom teacher, showing concern for his situation. The protagonist quietly thanks her, his expression heavy with resignation. Alone in the dim hospital room, he feels utterly isolated, convinced that no one will come to his aid. Feeling utterly abandoned, he reflects on how even teachers favor Miyuki over him, and he can't reach out to his own family or brother. After being betrayed by his best friend and girlfriend, he wonders how he can possibly survive the next year and a half until graduation. His phone is flooded with cruel messages urging him to quit school, deepening his despair. Despite the cruel messages accusing him of causing trouble, he insists to himself that it's not true. He didn't do it. Tears stream down his face as he clings to this painful truth. Overwhelmed by sorrow, he breaks down in tears, the weight of betrayal and loneliness crashing over him. Yet, as he composes himself, he musters the strength to face the world again, quietly assuring others that he's fine despite the pain inside. With heavy steps, he walks away, carrying the burden of his isolation alone. He resolves to numb his heart to the cruelty around him, deciding to endure the pain for now. Yet, the hateful words echo relentlessly, threatening to crush his spirit completely. Surrounded by a storm of hateful words, the protagonist sits alone, his expression dark and hollow as the venomous insults crash down on him. The relentless cruelty gnaws at his spirit, pushing him to the edge as he contemplates a desperate escape from the pain. Despite the torment, he remains rooted in place, wrestling with the unbearable weight of his isolation. The boy nervously introduces himself as Eiji Ono, a second-year student, and admits he was just skipping class and wandering around the school when he ended up on the rooftop. He tries to hide the real reason he's there, thinking there's no way he can confess he came to jump off the roof. Meanwhile, the girl looks at him with concern, quietly calling his name. Ichiju Ai is introduced as a brilliant girl who topped last year's entrance exams. Known for her kindness and beauty, she quickly became the school idol, attracting many admirers from her class. The boy notices that several guys have already confessed their feelings to her. When he asks to share the rooftop spot, the girl sharply refuses, firmly declaring it's her place and demanding he leave immediately. Despite knowing the rumors swirling around her, the girl stands firm and refuses to share the rooftop. The boy, surprised and confused, tries to reason with her, but she cuts him off with a resolute, "Still no." The boy tries to dismiss the rumors, insisting he never saw anything himself. He argues that such one-sided stories are unreliable, and that romance is more like an illness. Meanwhile, the harsh reality of students judging without knowing the truth is shown, highlighting the cruelty of their overreactions. The boy hesitantly asks if she can believe in him, but the girl firmly responds that it's not about belief. She explains that the real issue is how dangerous it is to hurt someone based on biased and one-sided information, emphasizing the weight of such reckless judgments. With a gentle, grateful smile, he quietly says, "Thank you," his eyes reflecting a mix of relief and sincerity. With a warm, reassuring smile, he tells her, "It's fine if you don't know," easing the tension between them just as rain begins to fall, signaling a shift in their conversation and the atmosphere. Despite the rain and his concern, she pushes him away, her frustration mounting. Her voice breaks through the tension as she yells, revealing the deep pain behind her solitude. The raw emotion in her eyes exposes the true reason she was there all alone. Drenched in rain, she reveals the heartbreaking truth behind her solitude. There is no tomorrow for her. Her tear-filled eyes and trembling voice convey a deep despair that leaves him stunned and speechless. Overwhelmed by her torment, she lashes out with a desperate plea to be left alone. Shouting that she wants to die, he reaches out, panic and concern etched on his face, desperately trying to stop her before she takes a harmful step. Tensions escalate as he pleads for her to stop, but she suddenly lashes out, pushing him hard enough to make him fall back with a sharp, "Ow." Her wide eyes reveal a mix of shock and regret as the impact lands. Desperation fuels his voice as he insists that no reason is needed to save someone, refusing to back down despite her angry outburst. His determination shines through the rain, standing firm against her pain and confusion. In a desperate bid to reach her, he blurts out a heartfelt plea to skip school together just for today, hoping to give her a reason to hold on. His earnest expression and trembling voice reveal how much he cares, catching her completely off guard. She admits with a shaky voice that she couldn't help it, her expression softening despite the rain. He reveals his own pain, confessing that he came there planning to die too, but never expected to be the one stopping someone else from doing the same. Their shared vulnerability hangs heavy in the air, drawing them closer in this moment of raw honesty. She challenges him, incredulous that he would suggest skipping school, demanding if he even understands the gravity of the situation. He calmly reveals his own dark intentions, confessing he came there planning to die but never expected to be the one saving someone else. Her expression softens, conflicted and overwhelmed by his unexpected honesty. She challenges him, incredulous that he would suggest skipping school, demanding if he even understands the gravity of the situation. He calmly reveals his own dark intentions, confessing he came there planning to die but never expected to be the one saving someone else. Her expression softens, conflicted and overwhelmed by his unexpected honesty. Despite the lingering tension, they share a rare moment of genuine laughter. The weight of their pain momentarily lifted. The rain continues to fall around them, but their smiles hint at a fragile new beginning, with a quiet resolve. He suggests they head inside, and she nods in agreement, ready to face whatever comes next together. He offers her something with a gentle insistence, urging her to take it despite her hesitation. She accepts it quietly, gratitude shining through her eyes as she thanks him. Their shy exchange brings a lightness to the moment, breaking the tension between them. Soaked from the rain, she clutches the offered item tightly, her expression a mix of vulnerability and quiet determination. The weight of the moment lingers as she processes the unexpected kindness. She playfully calls him out for his teasing, labeling it as sexual harassment, while he awkwardly apologizes. Then, with a gentle smile, she reminds him that since he invited her to skip school, he must have a plan in mind. He admits with a wry smile that his actions weren't cool or rebellious, just born out of desperation. She listens thoughtfully, then laughs softly, accepting his honesty with a warm smile. He reflects on how some classmates have confessed to her, wondering about the reason behind her radiant smile. Meanwhile, she confronts the idea of dating a stranger with a mix of fear and skepticism, questioning his true intentions and whether he's only interested in her appearance or status. He recalls how one of the classmates who confessed to her seemed completely shattered by her response, which was far from what he expected. Meanwhile, she shyly offers something in return, breaking the tension between them. The two sit together quietly, the awkwardness lingering as they try to find the right words. She offers him a rice ball with a shy smile, and he nervously checks his bag before gratefully accepting it. As he takes a bite, his eyes light up with genuine delight, praising the taste. Her expression softens, touched by his sincere compliment. She savors the rice ball, her eyes shining with a newfound appreciation as she realizes just how good it is. Quietly moved, she reflects on how everyone has been enjoying something special, her heart softening with the simple joy of the moment. As they sit side by side, He quietly admits that it would be such a waste to go through life without experiencing this moment. She looks at him with a soft, touched expression, her heart quietly opening to the simple joy they've found together. Caught completely off guard, she blushes furiously at his unexpected invitation to come over to his place. His calm, genuine smile only makes her shock deepen. The moment hangs between them, charged with sudden, unspoken possibilities. Flustered and blushing, she protests loudly about wearing a skirt as he casually suggests climbing up somewhere. He quickly laughs it off, assuring her he understands, then points out a metal door near the front entrance, explaining how it locks automatically from the outside, but can be easily opened from inside. He teases her gently about knowing things honor students wouldn't, smiling confidently as he insists that once in a while is fine. She questions how he even knows that, still a bit skeptical. Then, with a bright smile, he takes her hand and cheerfully declares it's time to go. Blushing deeply, he asks why she's suddenly so flustered, urging her to hurry up. She nervously questions if it's really okay to hold hands with someone she just met, admitting she feels uncomfortable despite knowing it's normal in plays or movies. Their hesitant yet tender moment lingers as they stand close, hands gently clasped. Blushing and nervous, she admits it's her first time holding hands with a man and asks him to be gentle. With a confident smile, she urges him forward, ready to take the next step together. His surprised expression shows he's caught off guard but willing to follow her lead. Blushing and nervous, she admits it's her first time holding hands with a man and asks him to be gentle. With a confident smile, she urges him forward, ready to take the next step together. His surprised expression shows he's caught off guard but willing to follow her lead. The protagonist recalls how promises of protection, often heard during confessions, only stirred painful memories. Despite not wanting to hear those words, Ono Senpai's genuine care stood out as something different and meaningful. She worries about how genuinely good he is, fearing it might lead to trouble. Yet, she feels a glimmer of hope that being with him could finally help her escape this torment. Holding hands, they step forward together, symbolizing her tentative trust and desire for salvation. Introducing himself with quiet confidence, Kondo Seiji declares that he is the man at the center of this world. His presence both commanding and enigmatic. Since childhood, he stood out from others. Just a little studying put him at the top. With high education and tall height, his soccer talent made him the center of any team. Thanks to this, he climbed steadily, becoming the ace who led a weak team to the national tournament and attracting scouts from prestigious universities. From a young age, he was naturally popular, never without a girl since his first girlfriend in 3rd grade. Yet, beneath his confident smile lies a bitter disdain for the pure, childhood love he observes around him. Confident in his charm, he notes how easily the girl fell for him, while she bitterly reflects on the shame of having him as a boyfriend. Internally, he scorns her, mocking her for acting like a tragic heroine. He mocks the idea of a destiny partner as utterly ridiculous, even sharing the girl's insults with an otaku friend for amusement. But suddenly, his facade cracks as he is confronted with a tearful plea. "You promised you'd marry me?" At that moment, a twisted satisfaction washes over him. His hunger for conquest finally fulfilled, leaving him with a dark, exhilarating thrill. He coldly observes how girls who fall for his charm lose focus, their grades slipping as they stop studying. He recalls dumping his childhood girlfriend as soon as high school began, mocking her for being foolish and causing rifts with old friends. Now, confronted by a tearful plea, he arrogantly claims he threw everything away to choose her, igniting her desperate protest against the breakup. Tapping on his phone, he coldly declares his hatred for loose women and insists on breaking up, claiming his feelings have turned to hate. The girl's expression twists into a forced, uneasy smile, masking her shock and despair. Meanwhile, the former class idol's downfall is sealed as she spirals from truancy to a bitter end, isolated and scorned by her peers. With a twisted smile, he revels in the chaos he causes, finding cruel joy in watching men and women destroy their own lives while he laughs. Meanwhile, the spotlight shifts as Miyuki prepares to take her turn, a calm contrast to the turmoil behind her. Eiji's cruelty deepens as he gleefully drags others into his web of destruction, sharing humiliating posts that expose abuse and fuel the chaos. With a sinister smile, he watches the fallout unfold, eagerly anticipating how far his manipulations will push Miyuki and those around her toward ruin. The girl trembles with anxiety as she learns that Eiji hasn't returned since morning homeroom, and that others are desperately trying to erase the graffiti on his desk. Fear grips her as she wonders if he might have quit school because of her. Overwhelmed with guilt and confusion, she quietly admits she didn't know the full truth. As whispers about Kondo-senpai's rumors spread, she struggles to process the chaos around her. Despite her fear, A flicker of hope appears as she calls out for Eiji, desperate for answers. Unexpectedly, two figures walk away hand in hand, their connection undeniable as they disappear into the distance. The girl's eyes widen in shock, her mind racing to comprehend what she's just witnessed. Overwhelmed by shock and confusion, the girl's mind spirals with desperate questions, repeating why? Again and again, her eyes fill with tears as she struggles to grasp the identity of the person she just saw, calling out in disbelief, "Who is that? That homewrecker?" Takiyanagi, the homeroom teacher, watches the two figures from a distance, troubled by the reckless choice one of them made. Despite his concern, relief washes over him knowing that the person he cares about is safe. Back in the classroom, the homeroom teacher calmly begins the new semester, addressing the students before starting attendance. Despite the morning's turmoil, he maintains a composed demeanor, ready to guide the class forward. The homeroom teacher calls out the students' names, marking attendance with a steady voice. As he approaches one desk, the harsh words, "Die, loser," and "Get lost" scrawled across it catch his eye, stirring a flicker of intense emotion beneath his calm exterior. The teacher asks the class if anyone knows about Ono's whereabouts. A student explains that Ono wasn't feeling well and went to the nurse's office. The teacher decides to check on Ono himself and instructs the rest of the class to line up in the gym. Meanwhile, a girl named Amada looks uneasy as she's quietly called out. The school nurse, Mitsui, approaches the teacher with a worried expression, urgently calling out his name. She clutches something tightly, explaining that the situation with Ono is serious. The teacher reassures her that he was just about to check on Ono himself. The nurse confesses her regret, admitting she should have stopped Ono when he first seemed off. Determined, she vows to search the entire school for him. Meanwhile, the teacher plans to consult the vice principal before taking further action. The teacher acknowledges the difficulty of the principal being unavailable due to the assembly. He insists on holding a strategy meeting after school and urges the other man to question the students thoroughly about what happened. The teacher responds with a firm "understood," ready to take action. The teacher addresses the entire class with a serious tone, asking if they understand what property damage means. The students shift uneasily in their seats, clearly tense and uncertain about the situation. The teacher points to Ono's empty desk, emphasizing the seriousness of the damage done. The students exchange uneasy glances, admitting they don't know who is responsible yet. The tension in the room grows as the teacher begins to piece together what likely happened from the messages scrawled on the desk and Ono's condition. The teacher sternly explains that school desks are public property, funded by the students' parents through taxes, and damaging them is a serious crime. His words hang heavily in the air, casting a shadow over the class. Meanwhile, a girl stands trembling, clearly overwhelmed by the gravity of the situation. The teacher sternly warns the class that even if the culprit claims it was just a fleeting feeling, writing slander on someone else's desk is unacceptable. He draws a parallel to serious crimes like death threats, making it clear that such excuses won't be tolerated or forgiven. The students sit tensely, absorbing the weight of his words. The teacher's expression hardens as he makes it clear. This incident is not mere bullying or childish mischief, but a serious crime that must never be overlooked. His firm words leave no room for misunderstanding, demanding the students remember the gravity of the situation. The protagonist bows deeply, expressing sincere gratitude for the prompt response. The tension in the room is palpable as the weight of the situation sinks in. The great chair acknowledges the constant challenges teachers face and reassures Takiyanagi-sensei that he has done all he could. He points out that many would hide mistakes to protect their reputation, but now it's time to focus on the present and future rather than dwelling on the past. Concerned about Ono-kun's sudden early departure, the protagonist took the initiative to contact his parents after confirming with Takiyanagi-sensei. He explains that he checked on Ono-kun's well-being, and it turns out the student made it home safely despite feeling unwell. The grade chair stresses the urgency of prioritizing Ono-kun's well-being, warning that if the student refuses to return or drops out, all efforts will be in vain. The protagonist agrees firmly, emphasizing the need to provide unwavering support moving forward. Just as the protagonist is texting, two students burst into the room urgently calling out to him, warning that there's trouble. The protagonist reflects on the grade chair's quick response, surprised that he didn't try to cover things up as expected. Despite the warning, he remains nonchalant, confident that his father will handle any problems if they escalate. Meanwhile, the two students awkwardly defend their actions, feeling the sting of his cold dismissal. The protagonist's sharp rebuke cuts through the tension as he coldly questions when he ever asked for their interference, leaving the two students stunned and speechless. The protagonist coldly instructs the two students to deny everything with full conviction, reminding them that there's no hard evidence against them. His calm yet commanding tone leaves no room for argument as he sharply tells them they're finished if they don't comply. A sinister smile creeps across his face as he quietly revels in having gained 2 more pawns under his control. Exhausted and catching their breath, the two sit side by side on a park bench, the city skyline looming behind them. Concerned, he asks if she's all right. While she admits that keeping up with someone running at full strength is tougher than she expected, despite the struggle, he praises her for managing to keep pace at all. The protagonist acknowledges her impressive talent, noting how she's turned down every club despite performing like an ace when asked for help. She hesitates, calling him senpai. While he suggests continuing their conversation, frustrated but slightly flustered, she accuses him of teasing her too much, wondering if he's just hopeless at explaining or doing it on purpose. With a teasing smile, he admits he's probably just hopeless at explaining, prompting her to call him out with a playful liar. Their light-hearted banter continues as they walk side by side through a quiet neighborhood street. The protagonist arrives home earlier than usual, explaining he left school early because he wasn't feeling well and ended up inviting his kohai to lunch. The woman at home teases him about skipping school, clearly amused by his excuse. Meanwhile, a girl watches from the doorway, quietly reflecting on the family restaurant that is both her home and workplace. The protagonist reflects on his late father, a skilled chef who trained at a famous hotel and saved enough to open a Western-style restaurant with his mother, who managed the front desk and accounting. Now, his brother, a culinary school graduate, runs the family business as the second-generation owner, while their mother continues to handle the day-to-day operations and waitressing. With a warm smile, she tells him to use the back break room since it'll get busy soon. Insisting that lunch is on her, grateful, he thanks her as a girl quietly peeks out from behind a door, watching the exchange. A shy girl nervously introduces herself as Ichiju AI, the kohai of Ono Senpai, apologizing for her sudden visit and expressing gratitude for the help she's received. The woman beams with delight, surprised by the unexpected visit and the presence of such a cute girl brought home by Eiji. The young man nods in agreement, clearly sharing her sentiment. She warmly invites them to relax and enjoy whatever they'd like to eat, making the atmosphere feel welcoming and comfortable. The woman warmly invites AI to make herself at home, her smile genuine and welcoming, grateful and touched by the kindness. AI responds with a heartfelt thank you, her cheeks flushed with appreciation. The atmosphere feels even more comforting as the invitation is accepted. AI eagerly scans the menu, asking her senpai for a recommendation. He suggests the special lunch, highlighting their signature omelet rice. Her eyes sparkle with excitement as she exclaims how delicious it looks. The young man quietly mentions that he's already placed their order, then apologizes for the simplicity of the room. The girl reassures him with a gentle smile, explaining how the traditional Japanese-style setting is a refreshing change from her usual surroundings. Her calm appreciation fills the space with warmth. AI smiles warmly, realizing that the cozy atmosphere comes from the close bonds shared in her senpai's family. She gently remarks how their hobbies spilling into the break room make the space feel even more inviting. Meanwhile, the senpai reflects on how a home truly reflects its family's spirit, sparking a quiet moment of admiration between them. A quiet confession reveals the senpai's bittersweet memory of his once warm family. Just then, their special lunch arrives, and the girl's eyes light up with sparkling excitement at the sight of the delicious meal. The girl happily chooses tea, and the woman serving them cheerfully confirms her preference. Their shared love for tea sparks a warm moment between them. Meanwhile, the senpai quietly notes how his mom is definitely a tea lover. The woman cheerfully tells them to take their time and promises to bring the tea once they finish eating. The boy nods with a gentle smile, while the girl looks a bit tense, struggling with her emotions. A quiet clap breaks the moment, signaling a shift in the atmosphere. The two share a heartfelt moment of gratitude, clasping their hands together and saying, "Thanks for the meal." Their smiles reflect the warmth and connection growing between them over this simple, shared ritual. As they savor their meal, the boy reflects quietly on how just moments ago, they were both on the brink of death. Meanwhile, the girl, cheeks flushed, enjoys the food with a soft, heartfelt "so good." The girl expresses how comforting and delicious the tanjiru is, revealing it's her late father's special recipe, made hearty with simmered root vegetables and onions. The boy reflects quietly, touched by the memory, realizing her father was truly someone to be proud of. The boy reassures her warmly, saying it feels more like praise for her father, which makes him happy. She smiles softly, touched, and affirms that her father must have been a kind man, feeling comforted by the tanjiru that carries his memory. As they continue their meal, she admits feeling lucky to eat such gentle food, while he confirms it's an all-you-can-eat setting. Suddenly, her expression shifts, and with a heavy heart, she asks him if she truly deserves to live. She confesses that even coming to the rooftop today, she couldn't make up her mind, having agonized over it deeply. Though she thought she had finally gathered the resolve, doubt still lingers, leaving her uncertain and troubled. She trembles, tears welling up as she admits her resolve is wavering, overwhelmed by the weight of her doubts despite everything that's happened. Though unsure and feeling undeserving, she confesses that because he was there, she was saved. Her tear-filled eyes reveal the depth of her gratitude and the fragile hope he has given her. With a gentle yet resolute smile, he looks directly at her and declares, "I want you to live, Ichiju-san," offering a heartfelt plea that carries the weight of his unwavering support. Until now, she had always carried herself with dignity, but now, overcome by emotion, she breaks down in tears. This vulnerable moment reveals the true side of Ichiju AI that had been hidden beneath her composed exterior. After the meal, a delicate cup of tea is served with a polite apology for the wait, signaling a moment of calm and hospitality. The tea is explained as wine-flavored but alcohol-free, safe even for the underage AI. Adding sugar is said to bring a special happiness, and as she takes a sip, AI's face lights up with delight, declaring it delicious. The conversation turns to favorite teas, with AI happily agreeing that sugar makes the tea even better. When asked about her preferred tea, she excitedly shares her love for Darjeeling, sparking a cheerful exchange about their tastes and recommendations. Filled with warmth, she expresses how happy she feels, comparing it to having her own daughter. With a hopeful smile, she asks the girl to be her friend, not just Aegis. The girl's bright, sincere reply is a heartfelt, "Sure." As the girl rises from her seat, she gently declines the offer to be walked to the station, explaining with a bittersweet smile that the fun they've had might only make her feel lonelier afterward. Her heartfelt honesty brings a quiet, tender moment between them. With a gentle smile, she reassures him, saying it's okay and that meeting him gave her a reason to be here. The moment hangs softly between them, filled with quiet gratitude and newfound meaning. As she turns to him, she softly asks if they're friends now, her voice filled with hope. He meets her gaze with a gentle smile, warmly affirming their new bond with a heartfelt "of course." Her face lights up with pure joy as she beams a bright smile, expressing how happy she feels. With heartfelt sincerity, she asks him to continue looking after her from now on, sealing their new bond with warmth and hope. As she walks alone down the quiet street, a soft glow surrounds her, reflecting the warmth of the moment they just shared. Her eyes shimmer with a mix of happiness and bittersweet reflection. Knowing this might have been the happiest time of her life, the peaceful cityscape stretches out before her, carrying the weight of her newfound hope and connection. Her expression softens with a quiet vulnerability as she asks if being friends is enough for now. Seeking reassurance, a car arrives, and a formal attendant calls out to her, ready to take her away. She responds with a calm, sincere "thank you," carrying a mix of acceptance and lingering emotion. As he closes the door behind him, the weight of the moment crashes down, and tears suddenly well up. His composed facade shatters, revealing a trembling vulnerability he can no longer contain. The emotions he held back flood through him, breaking his resolve. Overwhelmed by the weight of his emotions, he collapses against the wall, questioning what he should do starting tomorrow. Haunted by memories of mockery and isolation, he envisions the loneliness awaiting him. Sitting alone in an empty classroom, he faces the bleak reality of his future, clutching a small bouquet as a symbol of his fading hope. He reflects on how talking with her was the only time he could forget his pain, realizing just how much she saved him. Despite this, a shadow of doubt creeps in as he braces himself for the humiliation he expects to face again tomorrow. Just as despair threatens to consume him, a message pops up on his phone from Satoshi, checking in and offering encouragement despite his own troubles. The unexpected contact jolts him, stirring a flicker of warmth amid the cold uncertainty. Just as he feels overwhelmed, a message from Satoshi appears, checking in despite his own struggles. The simple invitation to meet at their usual spot offers a small but meaningful connection, sparking a faint hope in the protagonist's heart. Despite feeling abandoned by everyone, including his closest friend Satoshi, the protagonist finds solace in the fact that Satoshi still treats him with kindness. That small thread of connection, though fragile, brings him a rare moment of happiness. Satoshi spots Eiji and waves him over with a warm, inviting smile, eager to reconnect despite the distance between them. His friendly greeting breaks through the tension, offering a moment of comfort and familiarity. Satoshi's sincere apology and earnest bow reveal how deeply he regrets not noticing the protagonist's emergency. Despite the rumors swirling around, his words affirm the importance of their friendship, leaving the protagonist stunned and touched by this heartfelt moment. Satoshi admits he wasn't aware of the cruel rumors spreading online because he rarely uses social media. He explains that the class split and club trips kept him from realizing what was happening, and with a clenched jaw, he sincerely apologizes for not being there when the protagonist needed him most. The protagonist, overwhelmed and desperate for trust, asks if Satoshi truly believes him. Satoshi, with a calm and reassuring smile, admits he knew the rumors were lies from the start. He explains how a club junior showed him the post, but he never doubted the protagonist's character or actions. Satoshi smiles gently, explaining that the other person involved is Miyuki, hinting that the rumors must be a misunderstanding. Despite the confusion, he remains calm, trying to reassure the protagonist. Satoshi reveals that Takiyanagi was genuinely worried about the protagonist after hearing the rumors. He then asks some classmates if they know anything about Eiji, only to learn that Ono left early, despite the unsettling news. Satoshi thanks them and tries to piece together what's really going on amid the swirling rumors. Takiyanagi spots Satoshi and approaches him urgently, revealing that Ono Eiji left early. His intense gaze shows his determination to confront anyone trying to hide the truth, warning that he'll punch them if necessary. Takiyanagi urgently pleads for any information about what happened to Ono, showing his desperation to uncover the truth. Satoshi admits he's been searching but hasn't found anything yet, his thoughts scattered and confused. The tension builds as Takiyanagi reminds him of their childhood connection to Ono, hoping it might lead to a breakthrough. Satoshi's eyes narrow with newfound clarity as he admits, "I see." With resolve, he promises to share everything he's discovered, signaling a turning point in their search for the truth. Satoshi listens intently, his expression tense as the other pleads, insisting that Eiji would never do something so unthinkable. With a calm but serious tone, Satoshi thanks him for sharing and asks that his message be passed on to Ono, hinting at the delicate nature of the situation. With a steady and reassuring voice, he pledges that the adults will take responsibility and solve the problem, urging them to place their trust in their guidance, even if only a little. The calm acknowledgement of Takayanagi's unexpected passion contrasts sharply with the young boy's overwhelming sorrow, tears streaming down his face as he struggles to hold back his emotions. The weight of the situation presses heavily on him, revealing just how deeply this all affects the children involved. The young boy sits alone, head bowed and overwhelmed by his emotions, while the older figure across from him offers a calm, steady presence. The heavy silence between them fills the room, underscoring the gravity of the moment. Through the large window behind them, the outside world feels distant, as if time itself has paused around their quiet exchange. The girl races down an empty street, her breath heavy and uneven as determination floods her face. She clenches her teeth, forcing herself forward with the urgent thought, "I have to apologize." Her resolve is clear as she pushes onward, driven by the weight of her emotions. Standing before the familiar entrance of Kitchen Ono, she steels herself, the weight of her resolve clear in her posture. Her voice trembles with vulnerability as she admits, "I have to apologize to Eiji." The moment hangs heavy, marking a turning point in her journey. A warm smile breaks through, radiating hope and sincerity as he looks ahead, embodying the promise of a brighter tomorrow. Just as hope seemed to settle, a sudden, sharp realization hits her, eyes wide with shock. The unexpected voice calling out a familiar name stirs a whirlwind of emotions, breaking the calm with a jolt of surprise. Her eyes narrow with suspicion as she peeks from behind the door, questioning why the school idol is at Eiji's house. Meanwhile, the idol herself smiles brightly, engaging warmly with Eiji and another girl, unaware of the tension her presence has sparked. A close-up reveals a subtle blush and contemplative gaze, hinting at deeper feelings beneath her cheerful exterior. Her heart races as she recognizes the unmistakable expression of love on the school idol's face. The shock deepens. Why of all people? Does it have to be Ichiju AI who's fallen for Eiji? Fear grips her as she realizes time is running out. Eiji will be taken from her if she doesn't act quickly. Meanwhile, the story shifts to a new girl who entered the school with nearly perfect exam scores, excelling in both academics and sports. Despite her achievements and prestigious background, she is known for famously rejecting all confessions and harboring a strong dislike for men. Caught off guard, Miyuki freezes as a voice calls her name, shattering her attempt to stay hidden. Her wide eyes reveal a mix of shock and fear, unsure of what will come next. Miyuki's heart pounds as she confronts the unsettling possibility that Eiji might have confided in this mysterious girl. Her mind races, panic and disbelief flooding her face as she demands the truth. The tension between them thickens, hinting at secrets that could change everything. The mysterious girl nervously tries to explain Eiji's whereabouts, but her hesitation only deepens the tension. The other woman apologizes, admitting that as a parent she shouldn't interfere. Yet she urges her to listen to her own heart for the truth, confused and anxious. The protagonist struggles to grasp the meaning behind these cryptic words. The mysterious girl delivers a crushing blow, revealing she discovered the truth before Eiji did. That Miyuki was cheating. The weight of this accusation hangs heavily, darkening the atmosphere and deepening the protagonist's turmoil. The mysterious girl recalls a moment at a shopping district gathering, where she saw the protagonist holding hands with a man who wasn't Eiji. This revelation cuts deep, hinting at a betrayal that the protagonist hadn't expected to be uncovered. The mysterious girl explains that since they are high schoolers and not married, they are legally free to date but warns that such relationships can lead to growing apart. She reflects on her initial belief that Eiji stayed silent because it was difficult for him to speak, thinking they had mutually agreed to break up, until she realized her assumption was wrong. On Eiji's birthday, the atmosphere is light and cheerful, but the mood shifts as the mysterious girl's expression turns serious. She quietly confronts the painful truth she's come to realize, that the protagonist had betrayed Eiji. The mysterious girl firmly rejects the protagonist's attempts to explain, declaring she has no obligation to hear any excuses. She admits she doesn't want to hate the protagonist more than she already does and demands that the strange justifications stop. The protagonist, overwhelmed and cornered, can only offer a trembling apology. She refuses to accept any more apologies, offering one final piece of advice from their decade-long acquaintance. While love is free, no one has the right to toy with or trample on pure affection. Though it might not be a crime, she believes it's a sin heavier than that. Despite her trembling plea to see Eiji and a demand for the protagonist to at least act properly from now on, the mysterious girl's resolve hardens as she firmly refuses, her voice cutting through the tension with a resolute, "No." The mysterious girl's voice cuts sharply through the tension as she questions what kind of mother could forgive a woman who betrayed her precious son's feelings. Her grip tightens, demanding that the protagonist never show her face again, leaving the weight of the decision to Eiji alone. Her voice sharp and unyielding, she declares that the protagonist is not worthy of her son, leaving the girl trembling with tears as the harsh truth sinks in. Overwhelmed by the harsh rejection, she collapses to the floor, trembling and whispering a desperate, broken no, as the weight of her sorrow consumes her. The woman coldly tells Miyuki to leave, warning that lingering here would disrupt the business. With a final, emotionless farewell, she closes the door behind her, leaving Miyuki alone and rejected. Broken and overwhelmed by rejection, she struggles to hold back her tears, feeling the painful truth that she can never return, alone. She walks away from the place that once held hope, her heart heavy with sorrow as she faces an uncertain path ahead. Returning home, the protagonist is greeted warmly by her mother, who cheerfully comments on how early she is, despite the seemingly light atmosphere. The girl's uneasy expression hints at the turmoil still weighing on her. Her mother's playful remark about Eiji's condition and their lovey-dovey relationship only deepens the girl's conflicted feelings. Her mother's cheerful words about her future with Eiji hit her like a cold wave, leaving the protagonist stunned and speechless, her face darkening with a mix of shock and inner turmoil. Trying to deflect the awkwardness, she tells her mother not to remind her of embarrassing things. Her mother, unfazed, smiles warmly and wishes her good luck as she heads off to study for an upcoming test. Locked in her room, the weight of her guilt crashes down as she confesses to herself that it's not only Eiji and her aunt she's betrayed, but her mother too. Tears stream down her face, her emotions raw and overwhelming. Overwhelmed by guilt and self-loathing, she harshly condemns herself for betraying those she loves, convinced that forgiveness is impossible. Her mind spirals as she acknowledges the deeper pain Eiji must be enduring, while grappling with her own role in the conspiracy that isolated him. The weight of her actions crushes her spirit, leaving her trapped in a storm of regret and despair. She clutches a worn photo from the entrance ceremony, the image of happier times with Eiji cutting through her guilt like a sharp sting. The memories of their smiles now feel painfully distant, deepening the ache in her chest. Tears blur her vision as the weight of her betrayal presses down harder than ever. Tears streaming down her face, she steels herself with a heavy heart, knowing she has no choice but to follow through with a painful decision. As she types a message to Senpai, her trembling hands betray the turmoil inside. Desperate yet resigned, she admits she must become a completely despicable woman to face what lies ahead. The next day, the protagonist struggles with a painful stomachache. Clearly in poor condition, Despite this, he musters the strength to leave, exchanging polite farewells with the staff as he steps out into the day. Despite the heavy weight of the past, she greets him with a radiant smile, her voice bright and warm, calling out "senpai" with genuine cheer. She wishes him a heartfelt good morning, masking the turmoil beneath with a facade of happiness. Caught off guard as the door begins to close, the protagonist anxiously protests, confused and flustered, insisting they were supposed to go to school together since he woke up early. Meanwhile, a familiar voice calls out, urging him to hurry, revealing that Ai-chan has come to pick him up. With a gentle tap on his shoulder, she encourages him to hurry up, calling out his name warmly. Though still weighed down, he manages a small, reluctant smile in response. The cheerful woman excitedly announces the special oyster fry on the menu, asking Ai-chan if she likes it. With a warm smile, she insists it's always free for Ai-chan, showing her genuine kindness and care. Ai-chan beams with happiness, expressing her love for oyster fry, while another girl quietly resolves to pay properly next time. The kind woman reassures Ai-chan that she doesn't need to worry and can always ask for takeout anytime. Ai-chan gratefully thanks her, excitedly looking forward to the oyster fry. Meanwhile, the protagonist, still a bit flustered, announces he's leaving, encouraged by the woman to get going. With a soft, heartfelt smile, she watches them walk away, her warm words lingering in the air. As they disappear into the city streets, a gentle farewell echoes. Have a good day. The moment closes with a quiet sense of hope and connection. Walking to school together has eased the protagonist's anxiety more than he expected. The quiet comfort of Ichiju-san's presence brings a gentle reassurance he hadn't realized he needed. Whispers ripple through the crowd as rumors swirl about Ichiju-san walking with a boy. Oh no, the one they've all heard about. Concern and curiosity mix as they wonder if she's being forced into this, while the protagonist nervously asks if she's truly okay and worries about her getting bullied because of him. Ichiju-san confidently denies the rumors, admitting with a shy smile that she's actually quite popular. Her unexpected honesty surprises the protagonist, who realizes he's never heard any negative gossip about her before. When the protagonist nervously confesses his feelings, she gently declines but thanks him sincerely, expressing happiness that he cared for her. With a warm smile, she asks him to continue being friends, showing her kindness and genuine nature. Ichiju-san cheerfully calls out to the protagonist, suggesting he use whatever advantage he can, like walking with her, to stay safe from verbal abuse. Her confident smile reassures him as she offers her support. Ichiju-san confidently suggests that today's rumors might actually overshadow all the previous slander. Noting how girls tend to be more interested in love affair suspicions, she smiles warmly, hinting that things might turn out better than expected. Ichiju-san firmly declares that she won't let her reputation suffer just because she walks to school with a close friend. She refuses to be dragged down by those who spread malice without truly knowing her character. Her determined words leave the protagonist stunned. The protagonist is deeply moved by Ichiju-san's encouraging words, feeling a newfound strength to face the challenges ahead. Meanwhile, Satoshi's support gives him the courage to keep going to school despite the hardships. Together, their determination fuels a shared resolve to confront whatever comes next. Despite everything, the protagonist feels a renewed sense of hope and trust in others, strengthened by the support and determination they've witnessed. Arriving at school, the girl shyly asks if he'll walk home with her again today. Catching him off guard, she quickly asserts herself, blushing but firm, insisting that she's the one asking to walk together. Their playful exchange reveals a growing closeness between them. Realizing she's looking out for him even on the way home, he feels a mix of gratitude and surprise. Playfully, she asks for a treat, then quickly laughs it off, their light-hearted banter deepening their bond. As they part ways in the hallway, a quiet sense of connection lingers between them. As he approaches his locker, the protagonist notices cruel notes taped inside, telling him to die and warning him not to come to school. Despite the harsh words and the trash littering the floor, he steps forward resolutely, his trembling hand showing the weight of the moment. As he opens his locker, the protagonist is startled by a casual greeting from a classmate. Despite the tension from earlier, the normalcy of the moment contrasts sharply with the harsh notes he discovered. The teacher gently instructs the protagonist to meet Takiyanagi-sensei in the staff room, revealing that Iwai-sensei has been watching over him and worrying since yesterday. Grateful, the protagonist thanks him before heading down the hallway, leaving the teacher with a relieved smile. The protagonist hesitates at the thought of going to the staff room, worried about standing out and being suspected by other teachers. As he walks down the quiet hallway, his unease grows, knowing he's under watchful eyes. The protagonist calls out to Takiyanagi-sensei, who greets him warmly and questions why he's outside. The teacher immediately senses the difficulty the protagonist must feel about entering the staff room alone, showing understanding of the delicate situation. The protagonist quietly expresses his gratitude, but Takanagi-sensei brushes it off, insisting it's just basic consideration. When the protagonist suggests using the meeting room instead of the guidance office, the teacher immediately understands and agrees, appreciating the desire for a more equal and comfortable space to talk. Takanagi-sensei invites the protagonist to sit beside him, explaining that it's easier to talk this way than facing each other. The two take their seats side by side at the table, preparing for a more comfortable and open conversation. Takanagi-sensei suddenly bows deeply, apologizing profusely for not noticing the protagonist's unusual state the day before and for letting him endure such painful feelings alone. He takes full responsibility for the incident, expressing sincere regret. The protagonist listens, surprised by the teacher's earnest apology. The teacher gently urges the protagonist to raise his head, acknowledging how remarkable it is that he noticed his own feelings so quickly despite not consulting anyone. With sincere gratitude, he encourages him to share his thoughts little by little whenever he feels ready. Meanwhile, another teacher reveals he had heard fragments of the protagonist's pain, showing that others are quietly aware and concerned. The tension is palpable as rumors swirl around the protagonist, accusing him of snitching to the teacher and playing the victim. Meanwhile, a concerned figure steps in, apologizing for rushing things and gently urging him not to force himself to talk today. The boy, weighed down by guilt and pressure, quietly apologizes. The teacher offers a rare gesture of kindness, allowing the boy to have a drink despite the usual rules. The boy hesitates, worried about the upcoming class, but ultimately chooses cola, grateful for the small comfort. The teacher reassures the boy that the school's main focus is to support him. Acknowledging the pain he's enduring, overwhelmed, the boy quietly expresses his gratitude, his emotions barely contained. The weight of the situation lingers heavily in the room. The teacher kindly offers a warm drink, breaking his own sugar restriction to share the moment. The boy gratefully accepts, a small smile breaking through as they sit together quietly. Despite the tension, a subtle bond begins to form between them. The teacher explains there are two reasons behind the situation, starting with how most students get caught up in irresponsible rumors, creating a group panic. He points out that adults can view things more objectively due to their maturity. Using the example of online flame wars, he illustrates how people convince themselves they're righteous while unleashing harsh abuse on others. The teacher warns that the origin of rumors is often unclear, and those who spread them can lose everything without realizing it. He compares the harassers to people caught in a destructive flame, blind to their own losses. As he takes a sip of his drink, he hints that the second reason behind the situation is connected to this harsh reality. The teacher reassures the protagonist that no matter what trouble Ono faces, he doesn't seem like someone who would resort to violence or deserve such underhanded harassment. With a warm smile, he calls it a teacher's intuition. The protagonist, gathering his courage, looks determined as he addresses Takanagi-sensei. With a firm voice, he admits there's something important he needs to discuss, signaling a shift from listening to taking action. The protagonist reveals to the teacher that he was dating Amada Miyuki and had plans to spend his birthday with her. However, Miyuki suddenly canceled, and later, he saw her walking in the shopping district with Kondo-senpai, raising his suspicions. The protagonist admits he grabbed Miyuki's arm to confront her. Though he didn't think he used much force, Miyuki said it hurt, and then Kondo-senpai suddenly punched him, shouting accusations like, "This violent guy," and "Stalker bastard." The teacher is shocked, struggling to process what Kondo is claiming. The protagonist reveals that Kondo-senpai forced Miyuki to choose between them, and with a heavy heart, he confirms that she chose Kondo. The weight of this truth visibly crushes him as he struggles to accept it. The teacher gently acknowledges the pain the protagonist must have felt, offering quiet support as the young man bows his head in gratitude. Despite the heavy truth, the teacher's calm presence provides a small comfort in this moment of heartache. Though he seems like a clean-cut, nice guy and excels in soccer with decent grades, his reputation among teachers is far from good. The real issue lies in his numerous relationship problems, which cast a shadow over his otherwise polished image. The teacher insists they must gather every detail to uncover the contradictions in Kondo's story, warning that Kondo might try to justify his actions. With a serious gaze, he declares that from now on, the adults will take charge of the situation. The principal emphasizes that protecting Ono's school life is paramount, rejecting dropout or truancy as solutions. Instead, the school will provide makeup classes and assignments to prevent further disadvantage. Yet, they acknowledge that forcing Ono to endure hostility in class could leave lasting emotional scars, and the longer this continues, the harder his situation will become. Ono apologizes, feeling guilty for causing trouble, but the teacher firmly insists that this is not a burden on him. In fact, it's a responsibility he takes seriously for the sake of the entire school. The girl gently reminds him that his kindness is a strength, not a weakness, encouraging him to let others support him in return. She reassures him that relying on others is okay, especially because his kindness naturally draws people to want to help. The boy, surprised but comforted, quietly agrees. The teacher offers a gentle smile, encouraging him to lean on others when things get tough, reminding him that even he is there to support him. The teachers are genuinely concerned about the protagonist's well-being, reminding him that while his body may be fine, his heart is exhausted from recent hardships. One teacher emphasizes that Takinagi-sensei is the one working hardest for him, urging him to remember that support is there. Despite the tough situation, the protagonist feels reassured knowing he's not alone. Feeling overwhelmed by negative emotions, the protagonist decides to borrow some books from the library to keep himself busy as a distraction. When asked if that's okay, he nervously agrees, promising to keep it a secret and not make it too obvious. The teacher smiles warmly, sealing their quiet understanding. The protagonist, having quickly finished the book he borrowed, is gently teased by the teacher for his speed. She offers to make some tea and suggests taking a little break, while he shyly asks if that's really okay. Just this once, their warm exchange hints at a growing bond of care and understanding. The teacher thoughtfully prepares green tea, knowing he can't drink coffee, and offers it to him with a gentle smile, grateful. He accepts the warm cup, savoring the quiet comfort it brings. As he takes a sip, the soothing qualities of the tea seem to ease his restless mind. Curious, he asks why she chose to become a teacher, catching her a bit off guard. She admits with a soft smile that her teaching license was more of a fallback, as she never had a clear passion driving her career choice. Despite feeling it might not be the best thing to share with a student, she opens up honestly about her uncertain path. When asked if she became a teacher right after college, she admits with a quiet smile that she didn't. Instead, she first joined a regular company and only transferred to teaching 5 years ago, surprising him. She reveals that although she once thought about becoming a teacher in college, she gave up on that dream for a time. Smiling reassuringly, she insists it's not a difficult topic to discuss and tells him not to worry, reflecting on her past. She explains how student teaching was enjoyable and others believed she was suited for it, but fear made her run away from that path. She admits that realizing how much a teacher's words can shape a child's future filled her with fear. The weight of such responsibility was overwhelming, and once she truly understood it, she couldn't help but be scared. She asks if he's still scared now, and he admits that he is, especially since this is such a crucial time in his life. Despite his fear, she smiles warmly and says she just wanted to share a bit about herself, asking if he'll listen. She opens up about her past job, revealing how difficult workplace relationships drained her emotionally. Despite reaching her limits, she kept pushing herself harder, unable to confide in anyone. This relentless pressure only pushed her further into isolation and despair. She recalls collapsing from overwork and waking up in the hospital to find her mother crying beside her. Overwhelmed with guilt for not noticing sooner, living alone and only speaking on the phone occasionally, there was no way her mother could have known something was wrong. Despite the pain, she shares this with a gentle smile, opening up to him fully. He reflects painfully on how his mother's anger stemmed from wanting to be there for him, and how her regret was a heavy burden. He admits that without the support and awareness of his friends and teachers, he might have ended up in the same dark place. She offers him a reassuring smile, gently telling him he'll be okay because they're all here to support him. The quiet hospital room feels heavy with unspoken comfort and hope. She quietly opens the classroom door, catching everyone's attention as they turn to look in surprise. The room falls silent, the weight of her unexpected return hanging in the air. Concerned about her recent absence, a classmate gently asks if she's feeling all right. She reassures her with a smile, explaining she just overheated and has since rested, grateful for the concern. She promises not to push herself too hard despite the lingering heat. She struggles with the pressure of maintaining the cheerful, dependable persona everyone expects at school, while inside, she feels trapped and unable to rely on anyone. The weight of this contradiction leaves her feeling pathetic and isolated, cornering herself in a cycle of frustration and self-doubt. The one who truly changed everything for her is the upperclassman she just met yesterday, the person who quickly became her best friend. Despite everyone else overlooking who she really is, he saw her for who she truly is. Not even her own parents had looked at her that way before. With him, she could reveal even the most embarrassing, hidden sides of herself. Parts she didn't even realize existed. Walking beside him, those vulnerabilities no longer caused pain. and she discovered new depths to her own laughter and joy she never knew were possible. She realizes that while he might see her as a protective shield, the truth is he was the one guarding her heart all along. This newfound clarity makes her cherish the time spent with those who truly matter even more. A classmate nervously approaches Ichijo-san, asking about the upperclassman everyone's been whispering about. Ono-senpai? Ichijo-san's calm and knowing smile reveals she's well aware of the connection between her and the mysterious senior. Whispers ripple through the classroom as students nervously connect Ichijo-san to Ono. The upperclassman involved in a violent incident, doubt and disbelief fill the air. But Ichijo-san calmly confirms her close connection, revealing she's the one who visited his place and walked to school with him. The tension rises as everyone grapples with this unexpected truth. The boy anxiously questions Ichijo-san about the harsh rumors surrounding Ono-senpai, expressing his disbelief at hearing nothing good about him. Ichijo-san calmly acknowledges the rumors with a knowing smile, prompting the boy to wonder why she would care for someone with such a reputation. The tension deepens as Ichijo-san's expression shifts, hinting at a deeper connection beyond the gossip. The boy admits he's never actually spoken to Ono-senpai or witnessed any of the rumors firsthand. With a knowing smile, Ichijo-san challenges the boy's assumptions, insisting that Ono isn't the person the rumors portray him to be. Ichijo firmly declares her deep loyalty to Ono, insisting she knows him better than anyone as his best friend and owes him a great debt. She warns against spreading irresponsible rumors, expressing her strong disdain for people who judge others harshly without truly knowing them. The boy nervously apologizes for saying irresponsible things without truly knowing Ono, causing Ichijo to react with surprise. Their exchange softens as both begin to apologize for their harsh words, showing a mutual understanding starting to form between them. The protagonist reflects on how difficult it is to erase a bad reputation once it spreads. Even if Ono is proven innocent, determined, she vows to do anything she can to help him, hoping to replace the negative rumors with positive ones, so he won't have to suffer forever. The morning practice drags on, leaving one player frustrated and questioning why he's even there when a practice match is coming up. Meanwhile, the team's captain fiercely critiques their sloppy defense, yelling that they have no chance of winning if they keep playing like this. The player confidently declares himself the king of the team, convinced that any loss would tarnish his career and no one else would take responsibility. He admits to an unspoken agreement with the coach and teammates that exempts him from defensive duties. Focusing solely on offense, he dismisses defense as boring and beneath him, believing his true strength lies in his artistic attacks rather than chasing the ball. The confident player sneers, calling Eiji Ono pathetic and mocking his ability to even show up at school anymore. Meanwhile, Eiji sits alone in the classroom, shaken but determined, as the harsh words echo in his mind. Rumors about him have spread throughout the school, and his reputation has plummeted so low that he's now on the brink of truancy, struggling just to exist. Yet, beneath it all, something even more significant is about to unfold. In a quiet, intimate moment, Miyuki clings tightly, confessing that there's no going back to how things were, and that he's all she has left. The weight of her words hits hard as the two share a vulnerable embrace, signaling a deep, unspoken bond between them. A cruel sneer breaks through as a taunting voice declares the girl is finished, just like Ono, destined to keep sliding down. But in the next breath, a gentle reassurance follows, promising to always be by her side, bound together by fate, offering a fragile hope amid the harsh words. As they lie together, he shares his cold intentions about breaking up with Ono once she's broken, while also offering Miyuki advice on facing the upcoming teacher meeting. Despite the harsh plans, a tender moment unfolds as Miyuki thanks him softly, tears streaming down her face, revealing the complex mix of despair and fragile hope between them. A cold, calculating smile spreads across his face as he kicks the soccer ball, his voice dripping with cruel anticipation. He eagerly declares he can't wait for the two to break, revealing the dark satisfaction he finds in their impending downfall. As one student casually finishes changing, another excitedly shows him a photo circulating around, catching him off guard. His eyes widen in shock as he recognizes the image, urgently demanding to stop it. The boys gossip casually, questioning why Ono would walk to school with a violent guy and dismissing her taste in men as completely off. Their words hit hard as the protagonist's shock and disbelief explode, his mind racing with the name Ai Ichijo. A cheerful third-year student, Seiji Kondo, nervously approaches Ichijo, confessing he's wanted to talk to her since the entrance ceremony and asking if she'd like to grab coffee sometime. Despite his friendly smile, Ichijo gently declines, admitting that going somewhere with someone she barely knows feels a little scary to her. The boy seethes with frustration, unable to comprehend why the girl who rejected him is now seen with someone he considers a loser. His anger boils over as he questions why he must endure such humiliation, fiercely declaring himself the king of the school.